My amplified unit. As here in the States, we exit Thanksgiving and begin the process of catapulting toward the holidays, BC wants to take a special moment to salute every single one of my amplified unit members that has supported this channel nearly every single day of 2022, even if it was as much as just smashing that up down below. That is a huge contribution. For all of you that threw BC a coffee throughout the year, next level. And everybody that supported in any which way, bought the merchandise, the amplified merch, any which way. Just watching. Ninja watching. You don't feel comfortable commenting. Maybe you watch on the TV so you can't smash the up, which, by the way, just go on your phone afterwards real quick and smash it. But no matter which way you guys supported, you really have no idea how much that means to BC. And I appreciate every single one of you. And for that, before we start this review for SmackDown 11/25/22, the go-home show to Survivor Series War Games, BC has to say to my amplified unit as we head toward the holidays, salute. You always thank me. I thank you. Thanksgiving may just be over, but I give thanks to you guys. Salud. All right. Enough with the sentimental crap, BC. Let's get to business. And speaking of business, one more piece of business before I get to the actual review, the go-home show, which is, by the way, tonight. It's not tomorrow, Survivor Series, right? For years and years, since we grew up watching WWE, the pay-per-views have always been on a Sunday. Lately, especially starting last year, several have been on Saturday, and Survivor Series is no different. I know a lot of you guys always say, BC, I forgot there was even a pay-per-view this week. BC, thanks for reminding me. It's tonight, guys. It's Saturday night. Live from New York, it's Saturday night. It's Saturday night. I don't know where they are tonight. Where are they tonight for Survivors? Boston, Massachusetts. I'm a New England guy at heart, man. Before I ever moved to New York, I'm a New England boy. I should have known that. Sasha Banks territory, which, by the way, we have a lot to talk about when it gets to Sasha Banks, when I get to the ladies, which I believe kicked off the show. But it's tonight. And my plan, my initial plan, I am 92% sure I can pull this off, is to be live tonight with you guys, calling the action. You don't have to stay the whole time, but we will have a live good, the bad, and the ugly review. So keep coming back after every match, I guess. Or if you want to hang out the whole thing, I'll be doing play-by-play and shooting the shit with my amp unit. And why I say hope is that I believe I can have the full time and not do side business, in which case I would do a live stream. And number two, I just hope the stream goes off without a hitch. You know, the cold weather is coming in. We're in a new office studio, so we have to see how the elements are, where the location is, and hopefully the stream is good. If it's too choppy, if it's breaking up, we're going to have to end the stream. I'm going to continue recording, and then tomorrow you guys will just get a taped version. But I hope to be live with you guys. If everything works out well, then we are going to do a live good, the bad, and the ugly tonight. If the stream holds up, that's the plan. If not, I'm still going to record, and you guys will get a review early tomorrow morning. But make sure you check the channel tonight. You should already be subbed and notified. I shouldn't have to tell anybody to do that. And for the over 5 years I've had this channel, I do not tell people to subscribe. I don't give a shit. That's your prerogative. But I always have people say, but he said, I didn't know you were live. But, well, if you were sub, it just takes one fucking second. Don't be scared. I don't bite. I know I'm amplified. But if you like a channel that doesn't sugarcoat shit, doesn't bullshit, just gives it to you what you need to hear, not what they want me to tell you, not what Vince McMahon or the man of 3 H's or Tony Khan wants me to say. No, I'm pissing all of them off. Because I'm telling you what's good and bad, not what we like and what we don't like. I'm not giving you my preferences. I don't care about opinions. They're like assholes. Everybody's got one, and they're usually full of shit. I leave opinions at the door, mostly. I mean, it's a podcast. I have to give you some. But for the most part, when we're dropping facts, that's what they have to be. Opinions have to be left at the door. right? My likes and my dislikes, what I'm into and not, has to be checked at the door. We have to talk about what is working and what is not so the promoters, the companies can get better. Professional wrestling is on a downward trajectory for the last 10 years. The ratings are in the tank. Merchandise sales, I don't even know if they can come back to life. Metrics are down in every area. Financially, WWE is securing record profit with deals like what happened with Saudi and their big mega TV deal. But the more all the numbers around them come crashing down, those big deals are not going to be around. Countries are not going to give you $50 million a show. And TV broadcast rights, any type of cable rights, nobody is going to pay $1 billion if you can't even bring in 1.1 million viewers. It's not going to happen. They're going to start to see, shit, your performance is going down. We're not going to pay that type of money. So that's what channels like this come into play, right? We're going to be perceived as the bad people in the community, the negative ones. We're never happy. We don't just enjoy wrestling. We just need to enjoy wrestling, man. We take it so seriously. Yeah, it's been with BC since I was very, very young, basically out of the womb is when BC started watching pro wrestling, and it's always been there for me, and I've always been there for it. And it's sad to see that at the state where it's at now, it is sad to see. The state of pro wrestling is in a sad state. We need to resurrect that shit. There's no reason we all can't have a piece of the pie, but at the end of the day, make it a complete cooked pie. There's no reason we all can't have professional wrestling booming again. Will it ever be like it used to be? Probably not, but that doesn't mean it can't be another iconic era. There was that golden era in the 80s. There was that attitude era in the late 90s. Even ruthless aggression had so many aspects that was special to it. In the last 10 to 15 years, we really don't have an era that we can be proud of, that we can say, damn, that produced so many superstars that were larger than life. The last 10 to 15 years, we can't really pick 100 storylines and we'd go back and watch again. That's what we used to be able to do all the time. That's what this channel does. Anyway, it's a little side rant. It's half just being so thankful for everybody that supported the channel this year, and it's also saying to anybody that's on the fence of joining the channel, what are you waiting for? You got to start holding these companies responsible. You got to start saying Tony Khan and the Man of Three H's is doing a lot of bad and a lot of wrong. Not just everything they do is hunky-dory. Because it's Tony Khan or because it's the Man of Three H's, they're flawless. And we should just support just because they're giving us an alternative or they're giving us a show. Doesn't matter if the show sucks. If what they're producing needs to be better for this state of pro wrestling, then that is where we need to step up. Too many channels just want to kiss the ass of these people and maybe hopefully one day get a job with them. I don't care about getting a job with them. I'm going to be just fine without employment from one of these big companies. I'm already in the game. I already am uber knowledgeable when it comes to pro wrestling. Many of you have already discovered that. And every day, many more discover that. I'm already uber knowledgeable. I already know what the fuck I'm talking about. Now it's just time for everybody to start being truthful. There's shit that needs to be corrected, and if it does, we can all get our pro wrestling back, and everybody can be flourishing. The superstars don't have to worry about putting on a performance and then going online and seeing people trash it and all the negatives. No, they can be rest assured that the booking they are in is immaculate. Their performances are top-notch because they don't have to care about all the other baggage. And we, the fans, get to prosper more than anyone. We get a better show. And when everything is running smoothly on the wheels, and every wheel is turning smoothly, right? There's no fucking squeak in the wheel. That's when the profits start coming in. Record profits that they can be proud of and they can sustain over the years. Not like WWE, which will all come crashing down within the next 2 years if they don't sell beforehand. Wow, I'm on a roll. All apologies. This is the third coffee, guys, so I got a lot to say. I haven't even started the fucking review. But all right, so let's get into that, man. I hope to be live tonight. That's the cold open, okay? Thank you guys for an amazing fucking year. Number 2, I hope to be live tonight for Survivor Series. And number 3, We have to stop bullshitting one another and the promoters, the bookers, the CEOs, the companies. We have to stop bullshitting. That's my end of the year message. I'll say it a few more times throughout December as well. We're not totally done with the month. But once Thanksgiving ends and we start going into the holidays, that's where WWE starts thinking about taking their time off. A lot of content creators, the pro wrestling community starts to plan a few weeks off before we start the new year and into WrestleMania season. So I just wanted to give that message. This channel is not going to change. In fact, heading into 2023, we're just going to get more amplified. In fact, a lot of you guys always mention, BC, why don't you do memberships, man? Memberships, right? Make the amp unit even tighter. Well, you may be onto something. Memberships may be coming to the channel. I'll have more info on that maybe next week or in the near future. Now, for this show, SmackDown 11/25/22, November 25th, 22. This is a go-home show for tonight's Survivor Series. Damage Control and Rhea Ripley call out Team Belair. Becky Lynch returns to WWE last night. First, Bianca comes down with Mia Yim, with Alexa Bliss, with Asuka, and Bianca looks right at Damage Control in the ring and says, I told you we weren't coming alone. Oh, here comes Becky Lynch. Her music hits. Crowd welcomes her back pretty hot. The welcome back was hot. The finish to the segment was lukewarm. Sadly. They just brawled. Becky comes back. Becky, I believe, takes out Bayley real quick. Maybe there was a little bit of a brawl from what I read. You see, it's already forgettable to BC. It was a little bit of a brawl, maybe. The heels run away, and the faces are all looking down at the heels. Like, yes, Saturday Night War. Gotta be honest with you guys, man. The Becky Lynch return was hot, right? The crowd was into it. I mean, it looks like they wanted Sasha Banks a little bit more. It wasn't like a raucous ovation, like probably we'd hope for, but it was a hot welcome back. But the finish was just lukewarm to the segment. That will not go down as a memorable return. And you guys know that. And this is what I mean about not bullshitting, right? That doesn't mean we're being negative, by the way. It was good to see Becky Lynch back. Becky Lynch brings a dynamic into War Games, unquestionably, right? People always just look like, if I wasn't fully on board with something, or I'm just not over the moon, ecstatic, or praising a segment, that I'm just being negative. No, we're trying to help for the future. Like, Becky Lynch has been gone for 4 months, and she just comes out with 4 other ladies in a match of 10 ladies, and they brawl a little bit, and she shares the spotlight with 9 other ladies at that point. That's what's happening. As 5 ladies scream down. And you don't have to take my word for it if you don't want, right? If you're a new viewer and you're like, I don't agree, basically. It was hot throughout. Well, then go back and watch listen to the end of the segment when Becky's music hits again and the faces are screaming down at the heels. The crowd's lukewarm at that point. They're like, what's going on? It's too much chaos. They don't know what the fuck. It's 10 ladies. That's why I hate schmaz matches. I'm hoping War Games delivers. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. But to BC, it's just 2 cages with a massive cage around it. It's just a cage around a ring. Steel cage matches have become irrelevant to BC. I've seen so many over the years. They have overdid them. And War Games is just another ring with a bigger cage. That may not seem like I'm being optimistic. I'm being pessimistic. But I've seen enough to know that they're going to have to go above and beyond just having a cage around a double ring. Because that doesn't institute war for BC. But just go back and watch and listen for yourself, and you'll know that the segment fell flat. Like, there should have been more substance. Becky's return could have been done even grander. This is what I call lazy booking, right? We'll have the heels call out the faces. The faces come out and say, hey, we got our fifth. Fifth comes out. They brawl for 10 seconds, and the heels retreat. Wow. Basically, I see no problem with it. Well, that's fine. I'm not even going to knock you. When I say what I'm about to say, this isn't even shade to anybody that thoroughly enjoyed this segment. This is just me saying the truth. Your bar is too low. Mine is really high. You ask me to lower my bar because my expectations are too high. I'm asking you to higher your bar because your expectations are too low. We're meeting at a crossroads and something has to give. I'm hoping it's you guys so we can get the bar raised. Because if I have to give, then I have to lower mine and I have to settle with mid programming. We shouldn't be getting mid program. Raise your bars, guys. Get creative. You say, well, basically, you always think you're better than their creative, man. That's exactly what... Becky's been gone for 4 months. On this channel alone, I've been giving you guys 10 fucking ways to bring back somebody like a Becky Lynch. Creative as fuck. That doesn't cost any extra money. That you don't have to move mountains. Like, basically, they can't do that because USA Network won't allow it. Or Fox won't allow it. Or they can't do it for legal purpose. No. You can get creative and you don't have to even waste that much energy thinking about it. And it makes everybody involved spectacular, and Becky Lynch's return becomes memorable. We all know there's those returns from injury or a long hiatus that we remember forever, as Warrior would say. The Ultimate Warrior! And then there's those returns that we're just not going to remember, guys. A week from now, you're going to start to forget about it. In a month, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, when did Becky come back? Oh, yeah, that's right. Wasn't it before? And you got to start kind of piecing the puzzle pieces together. I'm not saying it has to be like Triple H, Madison Square Garden, when he came back from the fucking the quad injury, I think it was. I mean, Madison Square Garden literally imploded that night. But it should have been better than that. It was lukewarm, and I think if you're being honest with yourself, you understand that. If you thoroughly enjoyed it because you're so happy to see Becky back, congrats. I hope the best for her. I'm not totally sold on the Mon gimmick. I never was, but I'm willing to see where they go with Becky. I hope there's a plan. You had 4 months, and I just know WWE, whether it's Vincent Kennedy, VKM, or the man of 3 H's. It already doesn't seem like they have plans for most of their talent. We'll see going forward. So that's the opening segment. Becky Lynch is back. Up next was a World Cup semi-match. Butch versus Santos Escobar. Escobar defeats Butch via pinfall following the Phantom Driver. There was obviously interference. Zelina Vega, who was at ringside doing commentary, she was looking like a hostess... fucking iced honey bun. Just something you would want to devour 10 times over. She was just looking fantastic. I mean, she gets more beautiful by the fucking appearance. So at that point, I was, but Butch, Escobar, okay, you guys can get your banger, and I'll get my separate banger over here. Just leave the camera on Zelina is what BC was thinking. But you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. She was there. The camera was on her a ton. I'll take it. Match was okay. I can't tell you that Butch versus Santos on a Friday night is going to pique my fucking fancy. You know what I mean? I can't tell you that somebody calls up, but what are you doing on your Friday night? I'm watching Butch and Santos. I can't tell you that's really fucking, getting me electric as a wrestling fan, 24 hours away from Survivor Series. But, it's Butch versus Santos. It's a wrestling show, basically, with wrestling. I got you. I hear you. I'm not that excited about it. But I'm an old school fan, man. My wrestling needs a more story and people I give a fuck about in that ring. It is what it is, man. Congratulations to Santos. That pretty much set up right there, by the way, that you're not going to get Braun Strowman when he takes on Ricochet later. And that's odd because unless you're coming up with a really realistic way for Braun to lose that match against Ricochet, it's not going to make sense. I mean, Ricochet is literally half the man of Braun. That's not shade. I literally mean weight-wise, like half the fucking weight. So, I mean, you got to be realistic, right? I mean, if Ricochet is going to beat Braun Strowman later in the night, which we'll get to, it can't be something like a fruit roll-up, right? I mean, a guy of Ricochet's weight is not going to roll up Braun's weight, right? Not even if you say something stupid like, well, he used his own weight against him. The way he did it, Braun's weight was holding himself down. No, there's no roll-up. That's not going to allow a giant to fucking get his shoulder just a centimeter off the mat. So as long as you don't do a roll-up or something like that, then maybe it'll be realistic. Let me just make sure what... Oh, yeah. Just was reminded by my notes how that match ended. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Oh, let me talk to you, as L.A. Knight would say. In fact, up next, man, segment of the night for BC. This is the story in pro wrestling right now. Just like I said a few months ago, Wardlow and MJF, several months ago. I mean, it seems like an eternity ago, but Wardlow and MJF was just captivating BC over in AEW All Elite Wrestling. This is the story. I know a lot of people are probably, if you'd say, what's the story of the pro wrestling world right now? A lot of people would say Sami Zayn, Roman, Bloodline. For me, it's easily Bray Wyatt and L.A. Knight. I'm so captivated by this. I'm a big Bray Wyatt guy anyway. This is a Bray Wyatt channel. So I'm on board with whatever this dude does anyway because he's so uber creative. We're alike. I said earlier about some people have their bar so low, some people have it middle, some people have it up here, right? BC's an up here kind of guy, and that's why I relate to Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, so much, is because Wyndham in real life is just one of those up here guys. Our standards are higher. Our creativity is through the roof to the point where a lot of people wouldn't even understand it, maybe. And, you know, sometimes you're like-minded. I like to think that that's what I'm building in the amplified unit. It's a lot of like-minded people. Obviously, we can agree and disagree about things or have different likes and dislikes. But when it comes to facts in fiction, we're all on the same page of what is right and what is wrong. We all know what is happening and what needs to be done. That's why I always say my amplified unit is the smartest wrestling fan in the community. That's not a cute little catchphrase for my channel. I literally have been from day one on the channel creating that and trying to attract the like-minded people that view wrestling that way and know that we need larger-than-life superstars. We need larger-than-life wrestlers, whatever you want to call them. But we need those people that captivate us, that are uber creative, that are not just going to take with the man of three H's or a VKM or a Tony Khan or the sleazeball at the local bingo hall that's putting on a show. They're not just going to take what's giving to them on a piece of paper and go, okay, boss. You know, they're going to have their ideas. They're going to have those arguments. They're going to know where their character should be going, and there's going to be a meeting of the minds. And hopefully the right call is made. We need people like Bray Wyatt in the business, in the industry, and in these companies. And so it was easy from day one. I've just been a Bray guy, man. Even Husky Harris. There was I can't say I was on board like a Bray Wyatt, but there was something that was making BC go, find out more about this kid. Gotta find out more about this guy, man. Like what is this Husky Harris, you know? And then he just started to evolve at a rapid pace as he got his confidence just kept rocking, you know? And he knew his worth, and he knew what he could deliver, and he knew what he could offer. So I've always been a big Bray Wyatt guy. But you mix him up with L.A. Knight, who is a superstar already. And this guy has all the tools, I'm telling you right now, to be larger than life. I'm telling you, man. Let me talk to you. He's got it. He is like, if you ever watch and listen to L.A. Knight, he's an ultra hybrid, an amplified hybrid. A little bit of The Rock or a lot of bit of The Rock and a lot of bit of Stone Cold Steve Austin together with a mixture of a lot of aspects that checks off most boxes of just L.A. Knight. So you have a lot of Stone Cold, a lot of The Rock, and just a lot of an original character that captivates in L.A. Knight. You mix the three together, and you have an amplified hybrid. Stone Cold, The Rock, and L.A. Knight. If they had a fucking grand baby, there it is, man. It's what L.A. Knight is right now. I mean, in his promos, you're getting a little bit of The Rock and Stone Cold. And it's just L.A. Knight. It's the original version of what he is, just with a little bit of the greats. He's a hybrid. And his performance, the way he talks, the way he walks, his movements, the mannerisms. I mean, I always say this. This is what makes those larger-than-life Superstars, man. It's not even what you... And he can go in the ring, by the way, but it's not even about the moves you can do. That's why the flips and the dives in 2022 doesn't mean anything to BC. So you can do 6 moonsaults before your feet hit the fucking ground or your fucking stomach hits somebody. You can do Canadian destroyers from the top rope. You can do 16 suicide dives within 30 seconds, a moonsault from the top of the turnbuckle onto 10 guys outside. You can do all the flippity-dippities, as Braun would say. That's not a diss to them, but you can do all of the stuff that you grew up doing in your mother's backyard on the trampoline. You can do all of that in the middle of a pro wrestling ring, and I don't give a fuck. Can you captivate me and check off every fucking box that it means to be a pro wrestler? Because being a pro wrestler doesn't mean you can do flips and cool sequences. Being a pro wrestler means you can captivate your audience through your theatrics, through your performances, through the action. Not just for the time being, for those that don't have an attention span greater than a grapefruit. You need to broaden your horizons. You ooh and you ah and you do all your chants during the match. You go on afterwards and say it's a banger, and then you forget about it an hour later. People like L.A. Knight, those performances you do not forget. I cannot be more passionate when I speak about this motherfucker. And you put Bray Wyatt and L.A. Knight together, and it's a mix of magic, lightning that's secured in a bottle. And you don't let that fucking lightning out of that bottle. You let that shit resonate. And when it's ready to pop off, boom! That thing is going to explode into a cascade of excellence. Because that's what already started last week. With that awesome promo when LA Knight smacked the shit out of Bray Wyatt, not once, but twice. And everyone said, well, BC, what do you do, though, man? Bray can't lose, obviously. First big match back. LA Knight is LA Knight again. He can't lose. Not necessarily. LA Knight can absolutely lose this match and still not only save face, but he can grow and prosper way more than he's going to lose traction in defeat. He is going to prosper. Sometimes there is victory in defeat, I call it. And this is one of those times where he will prosper and gain victory in his defeat. Losing to Bray Wyatt, obviously, in the way that they're going to do this creatively, it's already started. LA Knight's stock is just going to rise from this. Nobody is going to go, oh, he's buried. He lost to Bray. He's buried. No, he's going to gain from this. Remember when Stone Cold lost against fucking Bret Hart? He passed out. And everyone's like, no, man, Stone Cold cannot lose at that time. What did they do? I don't care if he passes out in a pile of his own fucking blood. He can't lose. No, he did. He passed the fuck out. He could not overcome Bret Hart. And the way they did it was brilliant. They called it the double turn and all that. You guys know. And Stone Cold's stock just rose from that shit. Now, I'm not totally equaling that, right? Oh, but you see, you can't fight. That's totally different, though. It is, to a point, in a degree. But there's a lot of similarities between the two. Trust me when I say, or at least give me the benefit of the doubt if you're new to the channel. I'm going to say the words that I usually hate. Ready? I'm going to give it right back to a lot of people. Let it play out. And you're going to see that LA Knight is going to be much better coming out of this story and feud than even going in. And he already looked like a fucking $1 million once he became LA Knight again. This is only going to be magic, man, from here on out. And last night, they continued that. The original plans, guys, was for LA Knight to just sell the injuries, not even show up last night. No, they said, you know what, it worked so well, we don't want to overdo it, but let's continue the momentum. So they had Bray Wyatt go to the middle of the ring, cut a promo, and he's denying all accountability over what happened to LA Knight last week. And if you don't mind, I actually want to give just a little bit of actual dialogue, like a quote from Bray Wyatt's promo last night, because it gives you a lot of insight into the character that Bray is issuing to us. This is a quote from Bray Wyatt, middle of the ring last night. My entire life, I've been looked at like a rabid animal, but I am not. And I know exactly what most people want to see out of me. They just really want to see the monster, right? They just want to see the fiend. Well, that's not the man I want to be anymore. I have to be truthful. I am not the one that attacked L.A. Knight. Now, once he said that, he took a pause. and he was going to give more detail on how it couldn't have been him. It was not him. But Uncle Howdy appears up on the Tron. And Uncle Howdy, if you pick up all the little pieces of messages that were kind of all over the place, right? Really cryptic, and you really got to pay attention. Uncle Howdy says, and I quote, "They can make you believe anything. Open your eyes. He'll make fools if you listen to him. A snake in a cage is still a snake. Wake up. Wake up." Uncle Howdy disappears off the screen. We fade to black. We go into a backstage, a rebuttal promo from L.A. Knight. And L.A. Knight backstage says, "Let me talk to you." He says, "I didn't get to enjoy Thanksgiving because 7 days ago, while I was minding my own business, next thing I remember, I'm being pulled out of a pile of Bray." Interviewer says, "A pile of..." Yeah, that's right, a pile of trash. Yeah, you picked up on that, didn't you? He first called it a pile of Bray. Pile of trash, he calls it. "Now that human trash bag can vomit his lies to the world. It took me everything to come here." In a brace, he had his arm up in a fucking brace, like a sling or some shit. I don't know if he had like a cane or something, I think, but he was fucked up. But he says, "It took me everything to come here. And if I didn't have this sling and this cane and I wasn't hobbling around, I'd kick his keister around the arena." Basically saying he's lucky that I'm this fucked up because I came here with other intentions. So he then goes on to say, if I could appear in front of him, I'd ask him whose game it really is. L.A. Knight's. Yeah. Yeah. I love L.A. Knight, bro. Everybody within the next fucking 2 months is going to be, "Oh, yeah." Their mother's going to be calling them down to fucking dinner. "Are you coming, Johnny?" "Yeah." People are going to be at work. The boss is going to be like, "I want those papers by 5 o'clock on my desk, Jerry." "Yeah." "What'd you just say to me?" "Yeah." I'm telling you, man, it's going to take everything by storm. Anyway, I thought that was an awesome rebuttal. You know, like this dude had no business showing up. There's no reason. He got there, okay, with different intentions, but once he got there, he's like, "Dude, this is Bray Wyatt. I'm fucked up. Maybe it's better if I just don't go confront him." But he still is stubborn, right? L.A. Knight is still that he doesn't want to show that he's fearing Bray Wyatt, or he wants no part of Bray. He still wants to show up and show that, you know, he's not scared. He showed up, but he's backstage doing it, you know? It's like, all right, I'm not going to ruffle the feathers that much, but I want you to know that you didn't fucking, you know, I still stood back up and I came right back to SmackDown a week later. That wasn't actually the smartest decision, though. Back from break, or maybe it was a couple of segments later, man, they find L.A. Knight pinned up against the wall on the ground. There's like those roadie boxes, or, you know, those electrical equipment boxes. It was kind of like pinned up against L.A. Knight against the wall. So you could tell he got fucked up again for the second week in a row. So his injuries just got doubled at the bare minimum. And this proves the point that he should not have showed up because Bray Wyatt has attacked again. Or was it not Bray Wyatt? Was it Uncle Howdy? Was it another entity? Was it another 6 faces of fucking of Wyatt? 6 entities of Wyatt at this point. Who knows which personality, who did it? Bray's denying any doing. I'm sure he's going to deny this attack. And I can't wait to see. I think this is really going to kick into high gear following Survivor Series tonight, man. Starting next week, we can really kickstart this thing. I'm excited to see where it goes. And I can't say that usually about pro wrestling. That's something that actually has BC excited and really looking forward to something. But this Bray Wyatt LA Knight saga is just immaculate already. And I really hope, because Bray's steering the ship, right? This is where people want to give 3H's all the credit. And I will give him some credit for signing off on it at least. But this is the creativity of the man himself, Wyndham Rotunda. You know that. H himself has confirmed. He says that's why it can be difficult to work with Wyndham Rotunda, because he's so creative that even stuff that's immaculate, they think, he changes to make even more perfect. And it's hard to keep making these revision approvals. But let Bray do his thing, and this is what we get. Fucking immaculate. Salute to Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, and LA Knight. Let me talk to you. Yeah. The Bloodline and the Brutes brawl backstage at some point. I forgot if that was the next segment or a couple of times. I don't know. They were brawling through the Brutes in the Bloodline. Just brawl. It's lazy booking, you know. Just have everybody out there and brawl. You know what I mean? The storyline is between Sami and Bloodline anyway. We know that. The Brutes is just like Drew McIntyre with the Brutes and Kevin Owens. It's a weird mishmash, and they all of a sudden have a feud with the Bloodline. All right. If you guys are enjoying nonstop brawls between the same peeps, then you're getting exactly what you need out of your pro wrestling. That's all that matters for you, I guess. Leaves a lot more to be desired for BC. Hour number 1 ends with the Viking Raiders defeating Hit Row, and Van Halen is by the Viking Raiders' side. That's right, Van Halen. That's her new name by BC, by the way. That's right. Standing on top of the world. If you know Van Halen, one of the best bands from the 1980s, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know Van Halen, do yourself a favor and listen to Van Halen. I don't know if you want to watch this version of Van Halen or Von Hollen, V Halen, V Holen, Viacom, Viagra. I don't know what the fuck you want to. I know you guys are going to be like, no, BC, the word is this, and it means that you guys already taught me what the word is and all that. And without any disrespect, I don't remember. It's going to be Van Halen because I don't know why we're changing fucking names. I thought this was just a nickname. I was being told that, no, it's a nickname. It's going to be Sarah Logan. And they tried to pull the same shit with Meechin or Michi. Or Michelob or fucking Munchkin, whatever the fuck you want to. I don't even know what the fuck they called Mia Yim, or it's crazy in another language or something. I forgot, but they gave her a nickname, and I said, guys, this could become the actual name, and this is how they're just kind of easing you into it. They're gonna get everybody to think it's a nickname, and then boom, name change. And sure enough, I think there was a little bit of people that were upset that she was being called crazy or something. And they backtracked on that name. So they actually botched that. But I wouldn't be shocked if Mia Yim in the future gets a actual different name. Or are they going to say, okay, we botched, we shit the bed, it's too late now, she has to be Mia Yim. But it's clear Vince McMahon never wanted her to be Mia Yim. And that gives you just a little bit of insight that Vince McMahon is still involved in this shit. Or 3 H's is just taking everything. Yeah, so even if he's taking what Vince has said, then Vince is involved. Or you're telling me that 3 H's has learned from Vince McMahon so much that he too does not think that Mia Yim is a name that's going to be marketable. I don't know, but it is. Mia Yim is perfect. Mia Yim is better than fucking Munchkin or Matchkin or Moochie or whatever the fuck her name is. There's no reason to change Mia Yim's fucking name. VKM did it. 3 H's did it. There's no reason to change Sarah Logan. Sounds like a fucking perfect Viking name. Logan in the log cabin. It sounds fucking... What? Van Halen? Van Halen? Might as well jump, Panama! There's no reason to change Sarah Logan's name to Van Halen. Why is 3 H's changing wrestlers' names? Does that sound familiar? There was a guy who used to change all their fucking names, and we used to wreck him in vids online. We would fucking tear VKM apart. But because it's 3 H's, I like Moochie. That's a good name for Mia. I like Van Halen. Great band. He'll change any name, and you'll love it. He'll literally change Butch's name to Bitch, and you'll fucking love it. Bitch! It's like a dog's name. He's like a rabid dog, basically. Basically, it makes sense. Butch is like a bitch, which is a dog, which is rabid. You'll just go along with anything this dude does. And instead of realizing that he's just like VKM in so many ways, too many ways, he learned from him from day one. Or you just don't want to admit that VKM is heavily involved in this shit still. One day you're going to have to realize Vince McMahon is still heavily involved in this shit. Vince McMahon is still the guy. You're going to have to come to terms with that at one point. You're seeing smoke and mirrors so everybody believes that this is actual change, right? Bring back everybody that was released. We'll call them the Triple H guys and gals. It's going to look like H is definitely... There's going to be slight differences in the show, right? A little bit more of this, a little less of this. Take away the 24/7 title. But the formula, the feels, the flows are basically the same. SmackDown a little better than Raw, thankfully. In some cases, a lot better than Raw. But if you watch a Monday Night Raw, the same, if not worse, some weeks. And I don't even know if that's possible. So we'll just say the same as VKM for many weeks. It's a lot of smoke and mirror changes, is what I'm saying. If you know what I'm talking about. And we'll take them for now, but it can't sustain itself long term. The ratings will tell you that, right? The ratings are telling you if this shit is actual change for the better, and the ratings are even lower than last year, even for Raw, which means VKM's Raw is somehow better than Triple H's Raw by the numbers. How is that possible? You tell me, bro. I don't know. I was told change is here, and it's going to continue and get better and better. It's getting worse and worse, and now we're name-changing people already. Van Halen is now officially her new name. It's not Van Halen, basically. You're being silly. Well, that's what I'm going to fucking refer to her as, because that's what I'm going to remember. That's what I know now. It's either Sarah Logan or Van Halen. You pick. No, better yet, I'll pick Van Halen. And why is this match happening? Viking Raiders defeating Hit Row. Why? For no fucking reason, guys. There's no reason. Uh-oh, here goes Beasley. He's being negative. For the first 41 minutes, he was even keel. Now he's getting amplified. Stop the coffee drinking, Beasley. You're starting to get amplified. No, I'm getting pissed off because this is why there's no care in a tag team division. The only tag teams that you have, you're throwing them together on meaningless television shows. Not like a main event with a story behind it or anything. This is just literally the end of our number one. 2 of 6 of your only tag. I mean, how many real tag teams are in WWE? Because Elias and Riddle and all that, those are not real tag teams. Even Alpha Academy was thrown together, but at least they have the same type of outfits and they really collected themselves as a tag team. So I'll say Alpha Academy. We'll throw in the 3-man teams like the Hit Row. Alpha Academy, Hit Row. It really took me a second to even think about who else is even left. All right, so where are we? Viking Raiders, LDF, Hit Row, Alpha Academy, Street Profits, Usos. I'm talking about real tag teams, not people just thrown together. And some of those tag teams are just people thrown together, but whatever. I'll throw them a bone. Okay, maybe one or 2 other. Maybe I don't even know. You guys can come up with maybe 1 or 2. I don't know. So the point is, right? I mean, are you considering Holland and Butch a tag team? Or are we going to call them the Brawling Brutes? I guess. Okay. So I guess we could take all the clicks and make them. The point is, with all of those teams, there is nothing. Literally, New Day. Forgot about that. Isn't that bad, right? That shows you how the last several years we're just going through the motions of the New Day. They've been involved in nothing. A couple weeks ago, because of the title reign for the Usos, they were in something fucking semi-meaningful. It was just the same match we've seen 1,000 times. Usos versus New Day, and then it's right back into obscurity. For fucking years, it seems like New Day has not been involved in anything special. And here we are in a tag division where no tag team matches we're looking for. There's none. There's nothing you could say is getting you excited. Basically, I'm looking forward to this match. I think it could be cool. It could be a good match, right? Are you going to throw those type of match? There's nothing you're going to be excited about. Back in the day, man, if you even thought that the Hart Foundation was taking on the Rockers or Demolition versus the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom, you were like, what? Back in the day, if you knew that the Hart Foundation was going to take on the Legion of Doom, imagine that shit. Doom. You'd be on cloud 9, man. There's no. There's not a tag team division. There's not a tag team division. There's teams. And they just get paraded out there into these weird matches at the end of hour number 1. That should be, I mean, these are, in the future, if you ever want to do a feud between the Viking Raiders and the Hit Row, because eventually you're going to run out of tag teams, right? So you're going to have to circle back. These teams are going to face each other 1,000 times eventually because that's what we see in WWE. And how are you going to sell us to pay for this in the future, to pay for the Peacock streaming service, to watch it at a pay-per-view when we've already seen it, probably by that time, 17 times? This is what WWE does. They don't think about the future anymore. It's just right now. Attention spans will forget anyway. Everybody will forget what they viewed. That's what they want you to believe. I mean, they just Hit Row just got back a couple of months ago. The Viking Raiders, literally, the newest transformation. We've seen 10 different transformations from these motherfuckers. They literally just got back a week or two, maybe last week. And let's just do that match now for no reason. Basically, what do you expect to do? You just said there's not a plethora of tag teams. You gotta face people. That's where you bring in the jobber matches. Basically, Viking Raiders used to have jobber matches, and they weren't that captivating. They were no less captivating than this, and you didn't have to destroy a potential match in the future that could matter and should have substance. Look at the ratings. The Viking Raider jobber matches did not pull any fucking lower than this. This did not produce any better of a storyline than a jobber match could have produced, and then post-match extracurricular activities sets up a Viking Raiders next prospected matchup at a pay-per-view. That's what you used to do back in the day. You would have jobber matches that set up superstar versus superstar pay-per-view matches. You couldn't wait to see somebody get destroyed by the actual superstars. And then after the match, sometimes during the match, the dastardly heels, or vice versa, would enter the frame, and that storyline would kick into high gear somehow. All right? You don't have to just have wrestling matches just to have wrestling matches between Superstars A and Superstars B, because you're going to end up 50-50 booking everybody straight into a pile of irrelevancy. And the pile is going to be so disastrous you can't get out of it. You're going to be fucking buried by the pile of irrelevancy. And you're going to be placed into a pit of non-existence. 50-50 booking ruins professional wrestlers. That's why you can't just have these random matches where nobody can truly lose. It's not like Bray and L.A. Knight that's being built to the pay-per-view, and if done correctly, everybody comes out a winner. No, this is the end of hour one. 2 of only fucking 7 or 8 tag teams tops. Blew it. And in the future, if you ever want to set up a pay, I'm supposed to now forget about this, right? Just forget about it, basically. Forget about it. We're going to do it again because there's nothing else. There's no other way they can go. What do you want them to do, basically? There's not enough tag teams. I want them to build an actual division that we care about. I want them to care about the division so that we can be interested in it. In the women's tag team division, even worse. I won't even get started on that. Speaking of the ladies, man, our number 2 started with Rhea, Ripley, and Dominik Mysterio. Dominik. I think he wants to be a Mysterio anymore. Rhea and Dominik. Now, this was on WWE.com first, and they replayed it last night, but it was their Thanksgiving dinner at the Mysterios. And Rhea and Dominik show up to Dominik's house for the Mysterios. They're all having a nice dinner. The wife is there, the little daughter maybe. I don't know exactly the family dynamic, but family was over. They're about to have a nice dinner, and Rhea and Dominik knocks on the door, and the mom is like, "Dominik, go away. Now is not the time." He refuses. Mysterio comes in. Mysterio's putting on his mask. It was done beautifully. He was like, it looks like he knew there was a camera there, and they addressed it. Like the mom is like, "Why is there a camera here? Why are you filming? What are you doing?" So Mysterio gets tipped off. So he puts his mask on for the camera. And I love he enters frame putting his. So it was realistic, is what I'm saying. Anybody going, Ray just walks around his house with his mask on? No, he was putting it on for the. I thought it was beautifully done. And Dominik's like, not now, or Ray is like, "Dominik, not now. Now is not the time. What are you doing? What are you trying to prove? Not now." He goes to shut the door. Rhea gets pissed. "No, you don't shut the door on us." Boom. Just slams the door open into Ray's face. Ray gets knocked on his ass. Dominik storms in, starts putting the boots to him, starts slamming down right fucking hooks. Starts going over picture frames. "Oh, this is cute. Oh, look at this one. I remember that." Takes a Monday Night Raw debut match photo with him and his father. Smashes it over the boot brace because Rey Mysterio already has the fucked up leg. It was in a boot. and he smashes the picture frame with the glass shattering all over the boot. He then drags him over to a nice stairwell. Beautiful house that the Mysterios had, by the way, obviously. Multi-millionaire, justified, earned every dime of that, did Rey Mysterio. And he brings him over to this nice staircase leading to this big Christmas tree, and he takes a stick or a pool cube or something, man, and he just slams it over the leg, shattering this pool stick or some type of fucking long stick. I would have to go back and see exactly what it was, but he shatters this right over the leg of Mysterio. Mysterio is selling it beautifully. And on the way out, Dominik goes, this was the best part too, man. He says, and I quote to Rhea, Dominik says, "I think the family really likes you." Like, we should do these holidays more often. And guys, this was so well done. This is needed on the shows, not on .com. Why is this on a fucking .com? This is the stuff that BC is saying the shows are missing. Get away from the ring. And that doesn't mean just go backstage for a quick interview. Do creative shit. I always bring up like Stone Cold and Booker T in a supermarket. That sounds wild, right? That's not realistic. No, it's fun as fuck. It broke up the show. It's a memory you will never forget. Yeah, you thought about that, right? Right? Are you going to remember Santos Escobar versus Butch from SmackDown 11/25/22? No, you're not. You're not going to remember that in 10 years. You're going to remember Booker T and Stone Cold in that supermarket. I still remember everything he was saying. I still remember the fucking putting Booker T through the fucking register line. Every bit of it. That's pro wrestling, then. That's why we fell in love with it. You can knock Papa Shango all you want. Oh, the voodoo was so unrealistic. We remember what he did to the Warrior. We remember Jake Roberts and what he did to fucking Macho Man with the snake. We remember what The Undertaker did to Hulk Hogan at the funeral parlor with Paul Bear. We remember Ultimate Warrior being in that casket with the snakes and Jake Roberts and The Undertaker, hearing him scream out to get out of that casket. We remember Big Boss Man dragging the Big Show on his father's casket. We remember Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair, and maybe it was Becky Lynch. They were all fucking getting arrested. Ronda somehow gets into the driver's seat, drives into the Charlotte's fucking copmobile. Charlotte's trying to boot fucking Ronda while handcuffed. It was wild. It's zany. It is everything. We remember the IC title being thrown over a bridge into the river. Guys, remember that? We remember the APA waiting for people for barroom brawls at the local bar down the road. We remember that shit. Stone Cold getting ran over. I mean, these are the things you have to... I mean, these are things that elevate storylines, that are memories for a lifetime, and that escalate so much. Something like that should just be on the show. Don't debut that on a .com. At the start of the show, Dominik and Rhea are headed home for the holidays. Rey Mysterio is there. What is he thinking? What is it, Corey? What is he thinking? If you want to do this on Monday Night Raw, Corey's like, I don't have a clue. But if Dominik wants to spend the holidays with his family, then who are we to say? But now is not the time, Corey. And Michael Cole and Corey, and then you keep going back, and finally they arrived at that. You could make a whole story out of this. Loved it. Just wish it was on the show. Moving on. Can you tell I love shit like that? That's pro wrestling, man. When you build stories, when you build intrigue, when you make memories, when it's television, when it's actually television, not just wrestling, man. I want to see two dudes in their tights or two chicks in their tights and just do moves. I want to see them do sequences. Do your gymnastics. Flip and dive. I want to go, this is awesome. Fight forever. Holy shit. I want to do it all. And afterwards, I want to go online and go, this is a banger. What did you go? Oh, did you see the matches? What a banger night. Can't wait till next week for more bangers. No, I'm not going to be a fucking idiot like that. It's not pro wrestling, bro. I'm trying to watch a television show. I'm trying to watch characters that I give a fuck about and epic stories and culminating feuds and matches. It's not that hard of a concept. We lost our way in the last 10 plus years. Braun Strowman versus Ricochet. World Cup semi. Trying to be like fucking soccer. We're trying to create a World Cup tournaments in pro wrestling. I can't stand them. So many of them, and they lead to absolutely fucking bullshit. Anyway, Strowman versus Ricochet. Imperium causes a distraction, and Ricochet pins Strowman via an awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating fruit roll-up. The almighty, not Bobby Lashley, fruit roll-up. That's right. Ricochet pinned Braun Strowman, first of all. Think of that. That's realistic. I don't care if Imperium distracted him or the almighty Lord himself distracted him. He's beating Braun, much less from a fruit roll-up. Are you kidding me? Michael Cole literally said, for those that didn't watch the show or just already forgot or just need reminding, Michael Cole literally said 15 seconds earlier that Strowman is 128 pounds heavier than Rico. Rico is at a 128 pound deficit. 15 seconds later, and by the way, that's nearly another entire human being. There's human beings that are barely $150, all right? So 15 seconds after telling us all how unrealistic it would be for him to even beat Strowman if he was knocked out by somebody, if he used Penta's fucking hammer, or Phoenix, who I think it was Penta, from AEW, on Wednesday night and fucking putting it to the Young Bucks, even if you knock him out with a hammer, Ricochet pinning Strowman is highly unlikely. It's the same thing we said when Johnny Gargano got pinned by Omos and people tried to defend it. Well, realistically, Johnny was never going to beat Omos. Well, where's that same energy, brah? Brah, where's the same energy? 15 seconds after he says what a deficit he gives up weight-wise, he gets rolled up. And I mean, there's people trying to defend her. Well, his weight was kind of on him. It's hard to kick out when your weight. He's such a big guy. Did you see how he got taken down? It was literally, guys, Strowman has his back turned. Ricochet jumps on his back like he's a fucking chihuahua jumping off the kitchen counter onto his owner's back. Jumps on Strowman's back in a crucifix position. And you know, when you get in the crucifix position and you do the roll up, so your legs are tying down one arm and your right arm is holding down the other arm. How is that, before I even get to the pin, how is it realistic that Ricochet can take Strowman down on a fucking crucifix roll-up? And then on top of that, he actually held him down. Guys, Strowman just has to get one shoulder just a centimeter off the mat. He's literally a monster. I'm not calling him a monster. That's his name. The Monster, Braun Strowman. That's what they bill him as. It's on his t-shirts. It's how they market him. They call him the Monster. How does a monster get pinned like that? Please don't try. Please. I ask you, do not try to defend this. It'll never make the page anyway. That type of stupidity could never be even allowed. That's just graffiti. That's fucking bullshit. If somebody really tries to defend that, right, basically, I guess it could make sense for the following reasons. The momentum, because Braun doesn't know he's coming, so the momentum kind of jerks him backwards, and he was caught off guard. And then he was so shocked when he hit, and his weight was on him, that it was 3 seconds that he'll never get back. If he had it to do over, basically, I'm sure he'd kick out. Are we really doing that? Are you really going to try to defend that type of fucking... Like, these dudes were behind the scenes, and that's the finish they came up with. A guy, 200 pounds, soak in wet. I doubt he even hits 200 realistically. He probably bills himself as 200. Is rolling up Strowman, and everybody's okay with it. I'm okay with it, Blazely. Makes sense, man. No harm, no foul. Okay. I now remember Braun Strowman going forward, getting pinned that easily. That easily. I mean, you just gotta roll him up. Braun Strowman, just like Shayna Baszler, who's a real-life fighter, right? She should be booked that way anyway. She's the queen of fruit roll-ups. Her and Natty have the most roll-ups in WWE. If you want to beat Shayna Baszler, you just beat her. You can beat her within 2 minutes usually with a roll-up. And people are okay with it. They defend it. BC, I'm being too harsh. Okay. I just saw Braun Strowman get rolled up. And the type of roll, because there's many different types of roll-ups, by the way. The way he was rolled up, you want to laugh, but it's so tragically sad, so you can't even laugh. Okay. If you're good with it. Cool, man. Good for you. Oh, man. I just have to move on. I can't. And I can't even. Hold on. Post-match, Ricochet helps Strowman fend off Gunther and Imperium. And for that, he gets a handshake from Strowman for helping him fend off Gunther and Imperium. Oh, what a moment, man. BC calls this damage control by WWE. That's all this was. This was damage control. Because the words that Bray said about flippity floppers gained so much traction, they don't want Braun to have that type of heat with a whole type of wrestler or type of fan. So BC calls this damage control by WWE. And I'm not talking about the faction, the ladies faction in the company. This is legit damage control. And it's one of those, let's merge the big guys and the flippy floppers and squash the beef. This is all it was for WWE. Let's merge. Let's squash this. Everybody just enjoy wrestling. That's all this was by WWE. I saw right through this shit. This monster gets pinned by a roll-up. Then this monster is shaking hands with the little guy. Oh, yeah. If you could book Braun Strowman any worse than last night, I'd give you a fucking gold star and a chocolate chip cookie. And if you told me you didn't like chocolate chip, I'd personally freshly bake any type of cookie you'd want. Because I don't know how you book him any worse than last night. A monster? And I like Braun, and I want the best for Braun. But he wasn't a monster last night. They booked him like a moron. Backstage, I fucking love this segment, Dan. This was a backstage segment. Kevin Owens is talking to Sami Zayn outside of the Bloodline's locker room. Zayn is trying to go in. Owens just wants a word with him. Sami's like, not tonight, Kevin. I'm not in the mood. I have to get in there. Roman's waiting for me. I have to know. I have a role to play. I have to go. Kevin's like, no. I just want to say, eventually they're going to use you as a scapegoat. They're eventually going to turn on you. So he looks right at Zayn and wholeheartedly. And while this is happening, Jey Uso is listening. The door of the Bloodline locker room is a little bit open. Just a little bit, but enough for us to see Jey and Jey to hear everything. Jey's listening to every word. And Owens says, and I quote to Sami Zayn, if I were you, I wouldn't wait for them to turn on you. I would strike first. See you tomorrow night, buddy. Meaning tonight for War Games. He smacks him on the chest a little bit, like, think about what I'm saying. I wouldn't wait for them to turn on you. I'd strike first. Jey hears everything. Owens walks off. Zayn goes to enter the locker room, and Jey acts like he was just coming out. And Jey says, where were you? We were waiting for you. We could have used you earlier. With the whole brawl and all that. And Zayn says, I forgot what he said. I was talking to Roman or something. He knew I was going to be late. Something. So Uso says, let me ask you something. You say you just got here, right? Zayn's like, yeah. Jey says, well, have you talked to anybody since you've been here? Zayn's like, no, I just got here. I'm telling you. Jey says, you sure? I'm going to ask you again. Have you talked to anybody since you've got here before us? Zayn says, no, I'm talking to you now. If that's what you mean, I haven't talked to anybody. I just got here and you're the first person I'm talking to. Are we cool? What is this about? And Jey goes, all right. Yeah, we're cool, man. Yeah. Go in there. They're waiting for you. Zayn goes in and Jey has this look like, I just caught you. Red-handed motherfucker. You weren't talking to anybody? I just heard you talking about Kevin Owens about possibly turning on us. And when he gave you that thought, I didn't hear anything from you saying I would never do that. No way. Kevin, get out of here. Nothing. Silence. Crickets. But you weren't talking to nobody? Oh, that's getting back to Roman. Look to that for that to be furthered tonight at War Games Survivor Series. Fucking love that segment, guys. That's what I mean. Let that shit breathe. Tell a story. Deep breath. You're right? BC's not just a negative guy in the community. I mean, I am. A lot of people say that I am. They don't understand the channel. They don't understand where I'm coming from. Luckily, thankfully, not luckily. Hard work is not luck. Thankfully, my amplified unit knows, but this is what I mean. This is one of those things where you don't move mountains. You just take a breath. You're writing out the script for the show. Think about what is good television. Think about what helps the characters and makes the viewer captivated, right? This is awesome, man. It's a great camera angle. Jey Uso listening. We already know the history with Zayn and Owens. We know where this is evolving with Zayn and the Bloodline. We just don't know who is going to turn on who, so they actually used that in a storyline. What we're all thinking as fans, they used it. The dynamic was just so special. And you didn't have to... If you're in the creative meeting, your head doesn't have to start smoking because you're overheating trying to think too hard. You just took a breath and you had fun with this. This is all I ever say, man. If people just listen to what I'm saying, you know I'm not just a big meanie podcaster. I'm not just an asshole. I'm trying to say more of this, less of the filler bullshit. Even the wrestling matches today, most of them is filler bullshit. Love this, man. And then another beautifully produced backstage segment followed as Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler attacked Raquel Gonzalez outside the dressing room. And Ronda laid the fuck in on her kicks. Where's that in the ring? Somebody needs to tell Ronda that's what we need in the ring. Lay into that shit. She was doing it beautifully. Raquel was not getting fucking actually hurt. She laid into that shit. Ronda's kicks backstage, that's what I want to see in the ring. Beautifully done. And Gonzalez, I have to give her some props too. Sold exceptionally. Gonzalez was like screaming. I always call her Raquel Rodriguez. That was a name change as well, by the way. I think it's Gonzalez now, not Rodriguez anymore. That was NXT. Anyway, Raquel fucking sold just exceptionally. The way she was fucking screaming out and really selling that arm injury. I just thought the whole thing, and it was done within 2 minutes. You know, again, I use the term all the time. You didn't have to move mountains or overheat your dome piece trying to get creative. You just took a breath and you said, hey, what works? What's fun? What's going to interest our viewers? What's a cool way to do this, man? We have these characters. Let's use them in a cool way. And when everybody plays their part beautifully, the segment ends up flawless, basically. Raquel taps... well, this actually led... This led to a Rousey and Baszler tag team victory over Shotzi and Raquel. Raquel still tried to compete after that beating. So Shotzi started it off. It was like a handicap. And Raquel ended up fucking, showing her heart of gold, heart of stone. And she ends up getting into the match, and it probably wasn't the best idea. Like L.A. Knight, you probably should just stayed away. But she showed her heart, and she got fucked up for it because Ronda and Baszler ends up winning this match. Raquel ends up tapping out to Ronda, and afterwards, they just fucked up the elbow of Raquel. And Shotzi afterwards, in another backstage segment, said that the elbow is actually dislocated. So that tells me, guys, Raquel's out for months. If you're going to be realistic, you can't just be using words like dislocated elbow and then she's back in 4 weeks. If this is a true dislocated elbow, she's out for months. Guys, I know. I dislocated mine in football many years ago. I fractured a piece of the bone while I simultaneously dislocated. So I fractured and dislocated. So mine was even worse. But a dislocated elbow takes a while to come back from. So you ain't seeing Raquel for a couple fucking months compete. If you're going to be realistic and start using terms like dislocated elbow. That's what Shotzi said. So Raquel seems to have an actual injury. I'll keep up on that for sure because this is an injury that BC knows all too well. So a couple of really well done and beyond backstage segments. Now, the main event was Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens versus the Usos. Survivor Series War Games Advantage match. I can't stand these type of matches. It leads to who the fuck cares. Nothing being done this week on Raw and this match for the advantages for the women and for the men last night, women on Monday night. Nothing's being done that I couldn't just get seconds before the match begins at War Games tonight, right? Just tell me, flip a fucking coin. And I don't have to fucking act like this matters to anybody. Wow, they're going to get an advantage. Who's going online or talking to their buddies on the phone? Do people talk on phones anymore? Well, the point is, who's fucking talking about the advantage? This is going to be nuts, Timmy. I can't believe they have the advantage. Who's talking like that? Come on, this is stupid. They have to put something on the line because they don't have any other creativity for this. So we're going to get an advantage match just like we got on Monday. Just like Monday, this didn't matter. This did not fucking captivate at all. Nobody was talking about that, man. We're just talking about Sami and the Bloodline still. So McIntyre, Owens versus Usos. Survivor Series War Games advantage match. Lots of circus-style chaos in this match, obviously. There's just too many components. And they don't know what to do with the War Games build, so it's just going to be a lot of brawling and interference, and that's what this was. I call it circus-style chaos. The Brutes are out there interfering and distracting. The Bloodline is out there interfering and distracting. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. In fact, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, when they got involved, they did this thing where Sami Zayn wanted to use the championship, one of the tag titles. Owens was like, absolutely not. Zayn is like, what are you doing? Get off me. He pushes Owens. So Owens says, all right, you want to get involved? Owens tosses Zayn into the ring with the title. The referee sees him and goes, what are you doing in the ring with a title? Like you're going to hit somebody. Throws Zayn out. Zayn is like, no. He pushed me in here. What are you doing? While the referee's tied up with Zayn, Owens comes in. And Owens, was it Jimmy? No. I think it was Jay. Owens gets in the ring while the referee is trying to kick out Zayn. And Owens gets in the ring and stunners Jay Uso. And then Jay, or was it Jay or Jimmy? Maybe it was Jimmy, man. Because I thought Jimmy got the bro kick. I think it was the same motherfucker. That's what happened. There was a stunner, and instead of selling the stunner flat on her back like you're supposed to, he was then being set up for, I believe, a bro kick. So on the stunner, he just pops up to his feet and receives a bro kick afterwards. And I believe Sheamus gets the ultimate victory. I still want to say Jay, but I thought both Usos got fucked up by Owens. Well, either way, that's how the victory occurred. Sami Zayn got played by Owens, and Owens cost the Bloodline that match. So, and then afterwards, everybody's fucking pissed off. Bloodline's like, what the fuck? Faces are like, that's right, bitch. And we go off the air. It was a weak finish to send us to War Games. Now, I understand. No, basically, it was cool, though. I understand that, right? We're all enjoying that story with Sami Zayn, and now Owens is involved. We knew that was going to happen. We all thought it was going to be Usos versus Zayn and Owens at WrestleMania. That still could happen. I'm hearing other things because of Sami Zayn's popularity, but that could die off, and even if it doesn't, that's where they could decide to go. Makes sense. I don't know where else they would stuff them. Singles title match with maybe Sikoa, maybe somehow set up a title match with a mid-card. I don't know. But aside from that story itself, I mean, for War Games, this did not make me go, man, I can't wait to see that match. You know, I'm just seeing the same type of brawls. I wish the beef with the Bloodline was a little bit more intense. The faces that they have, Owens comes out of nowhere just over a week ago to settle some beef with Bloodline. You know, maybe he's trying to get Sami over, I guess you could say, to get out of the dark side. Drew McIntyre reignites a feud we just already saw with Roman. Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes all of a sudden want to be in War Games with, I don't know. I just wish there was a little bit more of an intensity for the reasoning why we should care about these two teams colliding in a double fucking cage, a double ring. But that's BC. Again, my expectations are up here. This is where a lot of you guys will go, nah, I hear you, BC, but I'm okay with it. Hey, that's cool, man. You know, the promotional-wise, you're way more ready for tonight then. I think it'll be a good show. I wish nothing but the best for the boys and the gals going out there and delivering tonight. But as far as excitement, like I used to be in years past, even as a grown adult, man, you know, there's been pro wrestling pay-per-views where I'd be at work and I'd be like, oh, but I can't wait for tonight, or this weekend. That's right. You know, you talk with your buddies. Yeah, I can't say that this one really did that. You know, in Survivor Series used to be one of the big four, still is. So, it always held a special place. But this War Games thing just kind of took over, and they kind of put the whole pay-per-view just on the name itself, War Games. And they tried to sell you on that. Hey, it doesn't matter who's in this match. It's War Games. And this week, we got the finalized teams. So I guess you couldn't even really get that excited. The teams weren't even announced until this week, man, solely. Women's and men's. So that's it, man. The finish left more to be desired for BC. The show as a whole had its ups that I was really into, and it's had those deficits that I just wish were much, much better. It was a mixed show for BC. Let me know how you guys felt about it down below. Did you think it was good or bad? Did you think it was amazing, right? Some of you guys probably thought this was a flawless show. Some of you guys think this show fucking sucked. Let me know down below. And again, what I would like to do is be live with you guys for Survivor Series tonight. If the connection is good, it's colder now. We're in a different office studio location, and it's just, we really got to see the elements. If not, I'll have to end the stream. I'll keep recording, and early tomorrow you'll get my good, the bad, and the ugly. I might still do it like I'm just watching it live, and then I don't know how I'm going to do it at that point. But I'm going to try to do a live stream tonight, hopefully. A live good, the bad, and the ugly for Survivor Series. How's that sound? Pretty cool? And if it doesn't sound good to you, well, I'm still going to do it. The Amplified Man. I'm going to down the rest of this that I've been nursing it for this video. I'm going to go and get another one, probably a Starbucks next. Latte. Vanilla latte. And get all the business that I have to get done before the series, the games. And then tonight, man, right back on the channel. We'll be covering. Top guy, I am out. BC saying, think, be, live, amped always. Till next time, which is tonight, check you. Salud.